Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Down to Business with Sam. My name is Samantha from Confidence and Style, and I'm so excited to be here for another video where I introduce you to empowering independent women who are really leaving their mark on the communities and industries they are a part of. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to two amazing women, Sarah Casden and Jenna Sands, the founders of HelloWellness. Through their incredible events that are held nationwide, they have fostered in-person connections through like-minded individuals who are passionate about health and wellness, and have united the wellness community, providing opportunities for brands to engage with their consumers outside of the confines of a thriving social media world. I cannot wait to learn more about how the company started, the ins and outs of how they create these incredible events, and what's to come. So stick around, you don't want to miss it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Down to Business with Sam. I am so excited to be here with Sarah and Jenna, the founders of HelloWellness. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited to learn more about how you guys started the company and how you guys create these incredible events. So I want to get right into it. Tell me a little bit about the backstory of how you guys came together to start the company, and if you guys had certain goals and visions in mind when starting.
It feels like a million years ago.
And the answer is no,
Yeah.
because we weren't thinking of it like a business.
Yeah.
We were actually recently on a plane,
Yes.
and this guy turned around and was like, "Oh, are you guys starting a business?" Because we were working on our business plan, and he overheard it, like actually starting to work on numbers and
goals and
and
ideas.
things like that. And we're like, "No, we're in our third year, but thank you." But so we first met at camp and then lost touch over the years, but very quickly reconnected because we kept running into each other at different workout places and salad places, and it was very obvious that we were into the same things. And I think we bonded over that so quickly because I was not like that in college or ever for that matter. And so I was really the only one of my friends who had that health and wellness lifestyle. And so it was really lonely sometimes being the only one and isolating, and Jenna felt the same way. So we instantly connected over the fact that finally we had someone who shared the same things that got us excited, and we wanted to just meet other people like us. So we weren't thinking of this remotely like a business, but rather let's meet people. So we hosted like a get together and sold tickets as a way to just cover whatever costs we had for that one venue, I think. But it was such a huge success in our eyes. Again, not like a financial success, not any metrics, but like fulfilling. We met people, it was great. And so we kept doing more sort of month to month as like a fun hobby. And then, what was it, after like 4 or 5 months?
4 or 5 events, yeah.
Yeah, that we were like, oh, okay, maybe this could be a business, and started to kind of think about it more seriously.
Now, did you guys have business or event planning backgrounds going into this?
No.
No.
Nope. And I like always tell myself, I wish I went to business school, or I wish I had more of a business background, just because as we've developed the company more, we've been challenged a lot with some of the more financial decisions, whereas at first.
But I feel like all the reason that we don't need that, like we're 3 years in and we've done just fine, we've been profitable since day one.
We're a bootstrap company.
Like not something that even all people that did go to business school can say. So
do you feel like it's just been a learning process as you go?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As the company has been.
We learned so much every single day. It's crazy. Like today we are learning about like website development. You know, when we did a retreat overseas, we had to learn about a customs broker, a customs lawyer. We have learned so much about business, and just, you know, like doing it yourself, and like Google is your best friend. Like every time I need to learn know something right away, we Google it and we like research it. And we both always research it so that we can bring our different opinions or our different ideas to the table as well.
And I would say our 2 biggest things that have gotten us to where we are successfully without having had the prior knowledge or background would be to always make sure that you're learning from your mistakes. Like we make mistakes and they will happen, but to ensure that you're not repeating them twice and that you've learned from them, and then to outsource what you don't know. There's no harm in asking or saying I don't know or hiring for what you're not good at. So our first hire was an events director who had events experience. And you know, as Jenna was talking about yesterday, when we're reinvesting in our website, we, instead of interviewing the different candidates for the website team, actually hired someone to qualify leads for us, because I don't even know what to be asking the right people.
Right.
Whereas now we can kind of see, okay, is this just a budget fit and a personality fit? So that's been the biggest thing for us.
And what struggles have you had to endure, or anything you've had to overcome to get to where you are today?
I would say, first of all, just like coming to terms with the fact that like this business is your entire life. And so when we were first getting started, it was every single weekend, working. The longest hours, well, first of all, we were part-time for the first year and a half of the company. So, you know, we would work our full-time job until 5 or 6, and then we would work on this business from 6 to like 1 a.m. So getting comfortable with the fact that we were going to be working 90% of our life. And then once we got like comfortable with that, I mean, it wasn't really hard to get comfortable with that because we were so passionate about it that we wanted to.
I think it was harder for the people that we had relationships
Yeah.
with, whether that was our husband, our boyfriend, our friends, our family, because it was a major adjustment to them. I had never cared about a job that much. Even if I was good at my previous jobs, I just was able to shut it down. But like Jenna said, when you're so excited about it, when it's what drives you, but also when your life now literally depends on it, and when we made our first hires, when their lives literally depend on it, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been able to balance the business and personal life, not having necessarily like that 9 to 5 job that you used to be accustomed to?
We've
gotten better.
We've gotten a lot better. It's definitely something that we are working on and continue to work on. And I think honestly, just like not going to business school and having to learn how to handle budgets and finances, this was something that we had to learn too, and had to make mistakes at and sort of recorrect our course. We joked around, but like not so funny, more like crying and going to therapy in the beginning. Like we had never felt less well than when we started our own wellness business, because we had loved wellness and been so passionate about it for the way that exercise made us feel, and meal prepping and healthy foods and meditation and managing our stress levels, all of which kind of went out the window when we had our own business. And so kind of getting back to what we loved about it and making sure that we were actually taking the time to prioritize ourselves was a huge thing that we learned and are constantly kind of reminding ourselves of. Like, there's infinite amounts of things that can get done in a day, should get done in a day, but does it have to is always the question.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I would also just probably add on to that, when we first started, we didn't have any concept of time or schedule, and so as I said, we would like go to our regular job, our 9 to 5s, and then we would work on the business all night, so both of our relationships really suffered, and they were sacrificed, and it was really difficult time for both of us in our relationships. But now that the company is more stable and it can run with us not working the crazy schedule, the crazy hours, we have like put together a routine and a schedule that works for both of us. So now, instead of getting to the office at the crack of dawn and working until the wee hours of the night, we don't start our day until 10 o'clock. Like, there is no, yes, I will lie in bed and respond to emails in the morning, and so we'll shave, because that's just like our nature.
Right.
But for the most part, I will not get into the office until 10, and we will not schedule any phone calls or meetings until 10. And that has really helped us with our personal lives, because now in the morning we can work out, we can meal prep, she can walk her dog.
Meditate.
Basically, by starting our day a little later, it really does give us a sense of like personal routine in the morning, and it's been super helpful for both of us with our personal lives.
And what has your individual health and wellness journeys been like before and since starting this company? How has it been impacted?
It's so funny.
We were talking about this
morning. They're polar opposite. I was like your quintessential kid of the 90s with packaged foods and
Lunchables?
lunch, like you name it. My mom made, we called it Mom's Marvelous. It was like Velveeta mac and cheese, like
told me about this before.
neon orange. Now like I mean, I don't like cheese. That was like my brother's thing, but it was served. And that's how I grew up. We had a candy bar in my basement. Like, it was just like,
Same.
so I didn't know anything else. Like, I knew that they were desserts. I wasn't like thinking, oh, okay, I'm having and you made fun of me because it was like a yodel, and you were like, literally, what's that?
I love those.
So it was like, I wasn't having like a yodel for breakfast. It wasn't like that extreme.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was having just like a bowl of cereal with no nutritional value, and that was my breakfast. And then I was wondering why I was having like a muffin before lunch, because obviously I was starving.
Yeah.
And it was very cyclical like that. So I really had to work extremely hard to develop a better, healthier relationship with food, understanding and relearning. Actually, we had an event about intuitive eating, which just speaks so true to me, because it's not intuitive to me at all because of that. I had to relearn what I was craving, what it meant to be hungry or full, and to chew. Like, I always joke around that I used to eat my food and chew to not choke, but not chew to actually chew the food.
Now she's the slowest eater ever.
They all yell at me, and like,
That's good.
I finished my lunch before she's like had her second bite.
Yeah, it's true. But it's so now I can't imagine living like that. But it was a really long process, and still is ongoing. What I love about the events is that I learn and take in so much from so many different people, but really apply what works for me. And use that kind of as an ongoing filter. So someone might say something and I love the idea of it, but it might just not be that realistic for me to apply. But I say, oh, okay, I can make a swap. Like, we did a non-toxic living event, and all of a sudden I cleaned out my house of any plastic Tupperware or non-toxic, like the non-stick pans, things like that I didn't realize were harmful, and it was an easy swap for me. So I'm continually learning. But you grew up like super healthy.
And I also love that about you. Like, you're every time, and she's like so good about this. Like, every time we have an event, she's always trying to better herself from what we like learned that night. And
That's
I just
amazing.
like think that's such an important aspect of her wellness journey.
I get so excited about it. I think like, why I see how different I am from before.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I had celiac, and I had 3 knee surgeries because I just had chronic joint pain. I didn't know that I had a dairy allergy, like all these things. So without wanting to continue to be enlightened and educated, like, you're just basically shutting yourself off to being the best version of you, which seems silly to me. So I get so excited about like what can I feel like, or what can happen that I don't even know is possible. I would never think when I was on my 3rd knee surgery that I could run a marathon, and I did, and it was fine.
Congrats.
Thanks. But it was just because I had celiac and I was eating all of this gluten, and like, you remove it and there you go.
Yeah.
So
It's so interesting because I come from like the complete opposite.
That's
like,
so funny.
childhood.
That is so funny.
Sarah would have definitely been like the cool girl in middle school to me, because I remember going to my friends' houses and they had candy and chips. And
if
like,
that makes you a cool girl, then I was the most cool girl ever.
So yeah, basically, like, my mom raised us in a really healthy household. We didn't have any chips, any snacks, and my brothers and I, we were raised vegan until we were each 5, and we always had a plant-based diet when we were younger. My mom, when she was pregnant with all 4 of us, she was vegan for all 4 of her pregnancies, and she was always super health conscious, and so eating in my house, we would always have a sit-down meal. There was never any snacking in between. It was always very balanced, so you would have like your protein, your carb, and your fat at dinner. And I mean, when it came to snacking, it would be like nut butters and almonds and fruits. It was never chips. And so I played sports growing up, and so I remember going to like my teammates' houses after school, and like they had like chip cabinets and chocolate, and I would be like pigging out. And
You sound like me.
But it was like, looking back, it's like a horrible like way to indulge. Like, I was like, I act like I had never seen this type of food before.
You hadn't.
And it's crazy because it's like, I'm not the extreme of wellness. I eat a very balanced, healthy life, and like, I'm not plant-based, I'm not vegan, I'm not, like, I eat fish, I eat chicken, I eat vegetables, but I am not the extreme of wellness, and I just feel like that's because I was raised in a certain way, and I just continued to like do that throughout my college experience, throughout high school, throughout playing sports my whole life. So my wellness journey has definitely been different than Sarah's, but the reason why I was able to connect with her right off the bat was because none of my friends in college had any type of interest in eating healthy. So like on Saturdays in New York City, they would all want to go to boozy brunch and like get unlimited mimosas and like eat really unhealthy meals, and like I just was never into that. So when I met Sarah and she was like, let's go to SoulCycle or Mile High Run Club.
I'm like, not
and then get and then get salad for lunch. Like that was so appealing to me, and it felt so like comfortable. And so that was really why I wanted to connect with people who were also like that, because I just felt like that was lacking in my life. And that's not to say what my friends were doing was wrong at all.
Right.
Because like they're still my best friends, and I'm going out with them tonight. Like I still like love being part of everything, but I just wanted someone to connect with that was more like me.
And I love that because I could relate definitely to that. Finding other people, especially in a big city like New York, finding like-minded people that you can actually build a one-on-one connection with. And my next question is, in a day and age where everything is so digital, social media runs everyone's lives, what advice do you have for those who are trying to build and maintain not only personal relationships, but business relationships?
Oh my gosh. There's been so much that we have learned as a team. I would probably say like the number one thing, and I'm sure you'll agree, is like the communication. We are two very strong personalities and in very different ways. And so when we first got started, we both had different ideas, different opinions, different thoughts, and work habits. And so, when we first started, we would just act without thinking and being rational. And now, before we make a decision, we talk to each other, we communicate about it. We are like, here's my opinion, but what do you think? And I think that's been so valuable for our partnership, because now I trust Sarah with her opinion, and I also value her opinion. So I want her advice. And of course, I'll always have mine, but I look forward to hearing what she thinks as well, because I really think that's what makes our business run, is coming from different perspectives.
Right. So I want to know how you guys started to reach out to influencers and brands when you first started your endeavor to entice them to want to be a part of your exciting, path.
I think the cool thing is it hasn't changed that much of how we used to be reaching out versus now. It's not like we didn't have a name then and now all of a sudden we do, and so the whole conversation has shifted. I mean, yes, we have inbounds now, whereas of course before we didn't, but the value of what we're bringing to both whoever our influencer host is or our brand partners are is that we're curating an experience where we can showcase and spotlight them really as a resource to our attendees and our community as either a brand or product or someone to follow who can support them or educate them along their wellness journey. And so that messaging still stays consistent. And so when we're reaching out, it's basically a conversation along the lines of, we would love to showcase your product. We believe in it and we think that it'll resonate with our community as well. When we didn't have a community, it was just, we love your product and we think that the attendees at this event, of which there will be 50, will love it too. And that is still so true, because everything that we do, we're, from a brand perspective, we're curating based on whatever is endemic to the theme of the event, the host of the event, and I say sometimes our own personal beliefs, because what's cool about what we do compared to if we were an influencer only offering our own perspective, for example, is that we act more as a discovery vehicle and offer a spectrum of wellness. So it can be a keto event or it can be a vegan event, and we just want to provide the tools so that you as the consumer can get more educated and make an informed decision for yourself, rather than us saying here's what's right and here's what's wrong.
Right.
Because we just don't know today. And the crazy thing about wellness in general is that not only what works for one person won't work for Jenna, for example, but what worked for Jenna last month might not work for Jenna this month. So who are we to say what's right and wrong? But that's why our conversation has always been tailored to just wanting to help raise awareness, and is still very much the same way.
And then you asked about how we went about reaching out to influencers
Yes.
at first. So I'm trying to like think back to when we first did. So our first event ever was with Rachel Mansfield, who is a famous recipe developer on Instagram. And so she's known for her banana breads. She's known for her cookies. She's actually writing a cookbook right now. And so we had been salivating over one of her recipes together. We were messaging each other being like, I love this, I would love to make it. And
well, and it went deeper. I was like, I just like think I would love her. Like we'd be best friends. And like now we're really good friends. So that was like the other cool thing about getting to meet these people.
Totally, yeah. So we basically reached out to her over email. We were like, would you want to like lead a baking event?
It wasn't email. We didn't even have her email. It was DM. Everything was on Instagram.
So social media really runs a large part of what you guys do. And connecting and, you know, reaching out to other people.
Absolutely. If we want to work with someone or if we find a brand that we like, a lot of times the first conversation starts by DMing them.
Yeah.
Now, you said that the events all have themes, and there are so many influencers out there in the wellness and health industry. So what goes into actually reaching out and selecting certain influencers as well as the brands that you pair together?
So challenging.
Because you, of course, obviously want to be cohesive and go with the theme.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. We, you know, first starting when we want to just look at the host and the theme, we want to, like I said before, we want to showcase a variety in the wellness spectrum. We don't want to be pushing a one-sided perspective. So we really try and look at what is trending in wellness, what are people curious about. For example, whereas we first started a few years ago with really predominantly food and fitness, because that's where the wellness space was at the time. This year, if you kind of followed along with the progression of our events, we had a lot more events that were about mental health and diversity and wellness and self-love and confidence and moms. Financial wellness. Like the conversation has shifted because people are realizing that your wellness is a 360 experience and it's all encompassing of so many facets of your life and not just what you eat and how you work out.
And how you look.
And so that's shifted as the industry and as people's knowledge has shifted, and so we're emulating that and trying to make sure that what people are curious about and what they're seeing and reading, we're giving them the opportunity to then get more informed in this unique, intimate way. So a lot of it is following what even our own personal curiosity is, and then when picking the theme, we always try and just do what is most endemic to that influencer host, because first of all, people are coming oftentimes to meet them for the first time. These people are famous through their phones, and so it's such a cool experience to be able to finally connect with them in real life. And so we want to give them the opportunity to connect around something that they actually know and love this person for most. But also, it's a marketing opportunity for our hosts because it's their platform for 2 hours to really talk about what drives them and what they're passionate about. So we work really hard to actually not dictate what the theme is, but to say, what do you think your followers want to see, what resonates most with them, and what do you feel like you want to use this for, which is why it's oftentimes like a baking class with Rachel, or we did a mental health event with a couple of mental health influencer advocates as well as a psychologist, and so it's different things like that that provides them this outlet.
I am so inspired by what you guys are doing. I mean, you're not only allowing influencers and businesses the platform to really, you know, preach and do what they love, but also bringing people together to talk about conversations that sometimes aren't really talked about in today's day and age still, mental health. So you inspire so many people every day. Who or what inspires and empowers you guys to do what you love and continue pursuing your passions?
Oh my God, there are so many.
We probably have the same one. I heard to say.
Wait, I wanted to go first and say
You're gonna say Sarah Blakely.
Yeah.
She's like, that's so funny
Yeah,
because Everyone.
Well, she's like the
But I also
holy
been like
grail.
telling Sarah spending half time.
It's true. We're also like basically in a relationship. But we like flew across the country to go to the HelloWellness conference when she was speaking at that. She is incredible, and I hate this word now because it's just so abused on Instagram. But like, she's so real for whatever that means.
Yeah. I mean, the way she started her business is just like so inspirational. You know, she just like hustled, and of course, there's, you know, like everyone gets lucky in business at one time or another when you have a successful business, but I think she really shows the importance of like hard work, determination, and like following your dreams. And she's like super inspiring to both of us, and we love that she.
Can you get my number too?
What she's built. Your number 2 for wellness.
For inspiration.
Founder of SoulCycle.
Ding ding ding. Oh, we know each other. I went to another event and heard Julie Rice speak, and all of your conversation about having never been to business school before. Neither had Elizabeth Cutler or Julie Rice, who were the founders of SoulCycle. And she said that every time they made a mistake, which when you're in business is not just like a, oops, I was mean to a friend. It can actually have like a $50,000 price tag on it sometimes. But if you just tell yourself that that price tag, whatever it is equivalent to the business school tuition I would have paid. And as long as I then learn from it and never make that mistake again, then I passed the test. And like, that's my A in business school. I think that's been something that we really hold tried and true. Yeah. And I also, my whole family are entrepreneurs. My mom was an entrepreneur, my dad, my brother. So I think also looking to them for inspiration, but also using them as a resource. And we've done a lot of that also, where we are friends with people who have startups either in a similar stage or who are a bit further down the line, but are close friends with them, where now we can say, what, you know, it's great to have like a Sarah Blakely person,
right?
But then it's also really great to say, like, what did you do when this happened? Because I actually need to kind of figure this out now. So that's been really instrumental to us too.
Is there one piece of advice throughout this entire process that maybe you got from an influencer or a professional through the events? One piece of advice that really stuck with you that you implement into your daily routine?
You know, I would say probably at our most recent mental health event, it was all about making time for yourself every single day. And I know what you're gonna say about Kelsey Wells, right? Well, I would just say make the most realistic and obtainable thing for me is just making time for yourself. So we have a busy day every single day. Every 7 days a week, it's a busy day for us. But I would say as long as you make that me time an hour a day or 30 minutes a day, it goes so far. And I would say that's like my most valuable advice at the moment.
I'm gonna surprise you with this one. I can't read my mind, but I was actually gonna say something really similar. I think the most valuable advice that we've gotten and have adhered to / are always trying to adhere to is you can't get everything done in a day.
Yeah.
Because that offers so much almost ease and reassurance to give yourself the space and the time and almost like the permission to take that personal time to prioritize working out or meditation or a walk or fresh air, whatever it is for you.
Right.
But we did not do that for a solid year, I think, and it was really taxing.
Yeah.
And what's a day-to-day? I know every day is not the same, but what really goes into creating these major events?
Oh my gosh, like a lot. We typically plan our calendar 6 months out.
Oh, wow.
In terms of hiring talent to run the events. Alicia, our director of events, who lives on the West Coast, she plans the events and hires our talent. We sell sponsorships for the brand, so we also need ample time to give brands ample time to sign on. So in terms of planning, it's like a 6 month process. But our day-to-day is most recently focused on business strategy and the growth of the company and where we plan to go in 2020 and like some of the bigger projects that we're working on that we'll be launching in the coming months.
Exciting.
I know,
I'm so
really
excited.
But in terms of day to day, I would say like our days start at 10 o'clock, as I said, and then they can go anywhere from like, I don't know, like 8 to like 10 p.m. We try and shut it off before then, and we've definitely been a lot better about it. But during the day, we always have a 1 hour like touch base with each other, just to talk about things that are going on, things that we want to work on, important phone calls we've had with other people. And then we have a business strategy meeting as well every single day to discuss, upcoming projects. And then we also have 1 hour together for inbox and to do our emails together.
That's amazing. You do it together.
Yeah. So we actually share an inbox, which is really unusual, but it just helps. We each have our own roles and responsibilities, and when we're looking at an inbox, whereas someone might see 100 emails, we know, okay, these 50 are mine, these 50 are yours, just based on who's emailing us or what they're asking. But it helps give us insight into what's going on without having to spend more time talking about it with one another, just by like very quickly seeing who's talking to whom, and adding that structure to our day of like, okay, we're only going to spend this hour on the inbox, or this is going to be our hour to talk to one another about what's going on, is really what's enabled us to accomplish a lot more, because otherwise we were living so much in the inbox and trying to respond to things and be so reactive, or help people on our team, that when we block off time for each respective thing, it allowed a lot more time, I think, to be productive.
And that's super smart, just being really organized and prepared and being able to like communicate with one another. And I love the fact that the dynamic, you guys were best friends from like years and years ago to running and building this empire. I feel like that's incredible that you guys have been able to just continue that and to strengthen that bond. So what has been the most exciting, triumphant moment or moments that you've had since starting the company?
There's been a lot. There's been a few. There's been a lot.
Is there one that stands out among, all of them?
I think we probably both have the same top two. My top one would be our charity event that we host every single year. It's in honor of breast cancer awareness, and we host a fitness festival. So we'll partner with boutique fitness studios throughout the city, and attendees are invited to take as few or as many classes as they'd like. And the proceeds are donated to breast cancer research. And this past year we raised over $21,000.
Amazing.
And
that's incredible.
It's super rewarding. I just got the chills saying it out loud. It's super rewarding. We put so much work into it. Just to have all these attendees come. We had 100 attendees come in New York and 100 attendees attend in LA. And it's just like exciting. It's fun. It's a really festive day, and like to give back to a charity that's really important to both of us is so rewarding. It makes us feel so good.
What was your second?
Our retreat last year.
Did you guys just have a retreat?
Yeah.
It was like it was our first one, and so it was like a whole different ball game for us. Again, learning about the customs broker was so fun and different. But it was so exciting for us to be able to, for the first time, reach people who were not just in our markets where we do the events, because that's something that we are constantly working on, is how to reach more people, because we can only be in so many places. And so we had people from all over the world come and met unbelievable women from literally like Australia, South America. It was awesome.
So you're really reaching, people around the world.
At the retreat, yes.
We're really
it was also
trying
awesome
to.
because this is an influencer who's macro, and for us to be like associated with her at the time was like a really big deal for us. And I just felt like super like proud that we were able to pull together such an extravagant weekend in another country with no contacts in Mexico, and to have 35 attendees come from around the world because of us was like super. Made me feel like super grateful that we were doing this.
And I'll add in a third.
Yes.
When we rebranded, so like a lot of people have been following along later, but when we first started, we were not thinking of this as a business, and so even once we started to realize that maybe we would do this as like a hobby, we were like, we'll just host some events in New York because that's where we are, and that's as far as we got.
Right.
So we were Wellness Meetup NYC, like does not roll off the tongue at all. But then we realized that we wanted to reach more people and that what we were onto was great. And so we rebranded about a little over less than a year into the company, which is super risky also because you're so new. And we became HelloWellness because it's more all-encompassing and it's not defined necessarily by one city or even by a physical meetup. And it was so scary to make that decision to do that, but so exciting and so well received, and something that now we're so proud of and love the name so much, and it has so much more meaning. So that, I think, was like such an exciting day.
And I would say probably like another rewarding moment was we hosted our 100th event last month, and so that was
Congratulations!
Yeah.
And our team was amazing,
Yeah.
and they surprised us.
As a cake,
Yeah.
It was really cute. So yeah.
So speaking of doing these retreats and finding more ways to connect with people around the world, what goals do you have or ideas for the future of the brand?
Our biggest goal right now is to be able to have a substantial offering for people who are not able to attend an event, whether they're in New York but are working that night, or if they're in Kansas, because the events we've been to, and they're so fantastic and they have such great information and is so different from what's available on social media or just in an article online, and so we really feel so passionately about sharing that out. So we're really excited about this year and hopefully about being able to reach more people and expand the HelloWellness community.
And is there any like brands or just wellness things in general that you're excited about, that you're loving at the moment? I feel like you guys are at the forefront of, what's upcoming, what's new. So is there anything you're loving at the moment?
It's so funny, we were just talking about this yesterday. Like, we really have discovered some of our favorite brands from our events, and it's not just like a sales tactic, like it's so true. I was saying to Sarah, like, Primal Kitchen is one of our bigger partners, and I had never had their salad dressing before, and now I bought a Thrive Market membership so I could get their salad dressing at like a discounted price, so I buy it in bulk.
And I have to try it.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good. And their avocado oil.
Yeah, they have amazing products, and I would have never tried them had it not been for our event. So to answer your question, like, I feel like I'm constantly discovering new products at our events, which I am so passionate about. But then in terms of like new products, I would say that like the non-toxic category is something that for us is at the forefront right now. We're like, we're both on the glass containers instead of like the plastic Tupperware. We're like using the non-toxic pans to cook with. So things like that are, I would say, are like really
that's
my
what I'm loving, I guess, is all the non-toxic products, from shampoo to cleaning to houseware to laundry detergent. That was a big battle with my husband. And we also did an event with Danielle and Whitney, who are the founders of Sakara. And again, I don't subscribe to any one dietary belief because it just changes so frequently for me, and so I just go based on what's feeling right. But I've been loving eating more plants, and so I am obsessed right now with their cookbook, Eat Clean, Play Dirty. This week I sent my knives out to be sharpened, so I got their meal plan, and then I ordered it again for next week because I have my brother's wedding this weekend, so I didn't want to come home and have to do meal prep, which is something I love and do religiously, but like knew I wouldn't have time for, and it does really set me up for success for the week. So those are the two things that I think I'm really. And Melissa Wood's new app.
Love her.
She just launched her new app, and I love her, and I love her workouts. Those are
and also knowing that you guys are really involved in meeting all these influencers and professionals, is there a topic or something within the health and wellness industry that people might not know about or kind of think differently, not knowing kind of certain things that you've learned?
The biggest thing is, I feel like a broken record with this, but there's so much that is actually related to your wellness journey and your health and the way that you feel that you don't necessarily associate with wellness. And I think that stood out to me most when we did a financial wellness event, because if you are stressed and your cortisol levels are off and your hormones are imbalanced, then you hear hormones, you hear cortisol, and immediately you know wellness, but you hear finances and you think money, budget, numbers, right? Not wellness. And so learning the link between the two and that everything really correlates into your overall well-being, which intrinsically is wellness, is I think sort of one of the biggest misconceptions. It's like, it's not just diet and nutrition, it is everything. And so whether that's sleep health or money management or emotional well-being, I think all of that is an important conversation to have, and it's starting, but something that I've become so much more aware of through our events and through the people that we follow and what we are learning just in the industry. And so I think that's sort of the biggest thing for me right now.
Yeah, and she always makes this joke, but I totally like agree with it 100%. It's like, wellness is not about spending money on like facials and acupuncture and green juices and all these different types of like therapy. It's you know, like if you did that, you would be broke and then you wouldn't be happy. So it's really just about like bettering yourself and your life. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
And what advice do you have for those who are looking to start their own businesses, going to pursue their passions? I mean, it's been incredible to see and meet you guys being best friends from such a young age to growing and learning together. So how has that been, and what advice would you give to someone who's going to want to do the same thing?
I would honestly just say that like, be prepared that this is going to be your entire life.
Yeah.
And as we talked about earlier in the conversation, it's like those relationships and friendships and outside social life is going to be sacrificed. So you have to be so passionate about what you're doing that you're okay to do that.
And not in a discouraging way at all, but really have a very serious, honest conversation with yourself. Am I willing to not go out with my friends because I have to be working on X? Am I so passionate about this that I would be working on all foreseeable vacations because the business, no matter how far you get it, and now like Jenna said, some things might be able to run without us, but like if we are both off, the business is off. So I think being okay with those sacrifices, and if you're not okay with them, that's fine too, but then maybe it's just not like the thing that you are most passionate about yet, or maybe it's not the time in your life that you can do it yet. And I think asking yourselves those questions, it's like one of my friends who I'm a founder with, I met because we were both at a wedding standing in the corner sending emails. And I was like, I know what I'm doing here, what are you doing here? And that's when we both realized that we had our own businesses, and you kind of have to like buck up and be cool with that, as does your partner and your family. And so I think my other piece of advice would be that if you're in a relationship, and this is a personal thing, but it might not just be a question for you to ask yourself, but also for you to have with whoever you're in a relationship with, whether that's an emotional support question or a financial question. There's just a lot that goes into it.
And going into the new year, anything you could tell us about all the exciting things to come, or are we keeping it quiet?
Subscribe to our newsletter and you will find out everything, which you can do via Instagram or our website.
Yeah, on that note, can you plug all your social media where everyone could find out all the events and if it's going to be near them?
Yes. So all of the events are posted. Again, everything is newsletter, online, and Instagram and Facebook. So our website is HelloWellness.com. And on Instagram, we are Say Hello Wellness. And then you can find us on LinkedIn or Facebook as Hello Wellness.
Perfect. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. It was so incredible meeting you both and hearing your
loved it.
story. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, being confident and fit is always in style. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Let's Get Down to Business with Sam. Stay connected and follow at Confidence in Style on Instagram, and Hello Wellness at Say Hello Wellness and HelloWellness.com. I'll see you guys on the next one.